This is the podcast that we ask our guests from in front and behind the camera, how did they get their foot in the door? What was the key to unlocking their success? What's their story?
Our guest today is nominated for the EE BAFTA Rising Star Award. When I watched the movie Talk to Me, I asked myself, who is this incredible actress in the lead? It is the standout horror film of the year, no question. Not only that, this year alone, Sophie has led Netflix series Everythingnow, and most recently, and still dominating the Netflix top 10, she appeared in the miniseries Boy Swallows Universe. Our guest today is actress Sophie Wilde.
Talk to me.
First of all, I just want to say
Yes.
congratulations on the BAFTA nomination. I mean, that's amazing. What was that like getting that news?
I mean, like, truly insane. I don't think I kind of processed it initially. Like, they told me, and then I was like sitting at some like shitty cafe in New York, and then I just like burst into tears. Um,
People looking at you like, is she okay?
is she okay? Like, what's going on? But yeah, it was, I mean, so surreal, I think, the whole thing.
Yeah, congratulations is amazing. And I've already placed my vote. You've got my vote. I
Oh,
watched I
thank
watched your
you.
movie Talk to Me when it came out in the cinema here in the UK. And I'd heard a bit of buzz around it. I'd heard like a little thing. I'd heard it was good, but I didn't know much about it at all. So
Yeah.
as you can imagine, oh my God, me and my mate went to see it together, and genuinely, it's one of the best films I saw last year, and it scared the shit out of me. And I'm good with horror films, but that really it gave me the willies. And me and my mate were looking at each other at various points in the film, just going, "Oh my God,
It's horrifying.
it
It's
is
actually horrifying.
horrifying."
Like, it's like, no,
Yeah, I
no, they
mean,
didn't have to do it to that
intense.
boy.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a few moments in there I was like, can they do that? That's
Can they
mad.
do that?
Who's up? I'll do it.
Cannot go for more than 90 seconds. Am I clear?
What happens after 90 seconds?
They'll want to stay.
When you got the script and read the script for the first time, what was the reaction to it? Did you know immediately that, oh, this is gonna be good?
Yeah, I mean, I think I remember reading it, and then it was the last scene, and I was kind of just like, I have to do it. I mean, I felt like the way it just tied everything together, and it was just, I don't know, like I just loved it. I think I was instantly like, I want to do this.
Mm-mm. When I mean, say reading the script and you obviously got to the end and you were like, wow. I had the same
Yeah,
moment in the cinema that I was like, stick the landing, please. Like, get the ending right.
yeah.
Let there be. And I thought, even if it just sort of ended, I'd be happy. But I don't want to give away to anyone that hasn't seen the film. But the end, just the last couple of minutes, not even that,
Oh,
30
oh,
seconds is like,
yeah.
what?
It's like unreal. I feel like, even like, obviously like we shot it, but like what when I watched it for the first time, and something about like the kind of scoring of it, and like
Mm.
the shots, and I was just like, that's unreal.
So did you have a similar effect when you sat down and watched it with the effects, with the music and all these things? Like, obviously filming something is one thing, but then
Mm.
seeing the finished product, that must have been pretty amazing to sit there and see that finished.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I watched it was at Sundance. So
Mhm.
everyone else had seen it already because they all went to Adelaide Film Festival, but I think I was shooting something else, so I couldn't go. Um, which was kind of terrifying because it was like, oh shit, like it's Sundance. I was like, this is my first time seeing myself in a cinema. This is my first time seeing myself like in a film.
Mm.
I knew all of A24 was there. I knew Ari Aster was there. I was like I hope that this is like a good film. Um, and I think just watching it, and I was just like, oh my God, like that's what we made.
Mm.
And yeah, you can film something and you can kind of gauge an idea of what it's going to be, but like you don't really know until you kind of watch that final product.
There's that side of the coin where you film something and it blows your mind and you're like, this is so much better than I thought it would be. There's also the other side of that where you see something after filming it and you think, I feel like there's things that were missed
Yeah.
or something wasn't quite right there. But I mean, yeah, sitting down and watching that for the first time must have been mind blowing. And then to see an audience reaction as well, that's a
Yeah.
great place to see it first time round. And what was the experience on set? Like, obviously, it's absolutely horrifically terrifying, this movie, but making it, how did that compare to the actually watching it? Was it a lot of fun on set?
Kind of. I mean, I feel like I had to like sit in such a dark place that like a lot of the time, like I would just be like in the corner, like
Okay.
listening to Death Grips,
Yeah.
like cowering away from everyone. But I think generally the set was very alive and it was very
Mm.
kind of energetic. And I think that because Danny and Michael are such beams of energy and kind of they have this like sort of frenetic energy and they're like they're YouTube boyos, so like they would just inject the set with this fun, and then people would be doing Uno dares all the time and it was really silly, and they'd be like you'd be doing this really emotional scene, and they know how to hold a set for you as well, which I think is beautiful, to give you the space for those scenes. But then as soon as they call cut, like they're just like running around the room and like like it's kind of like I don't know, it's almost like a team sport or something, which I think is such an amazing way to make a film.
Yeah. And I have to say, this was the first thing that I'd seen you in, but since then, immediately after coming out of the cinema, I was like, who is this person? I need to like see other things that she's in. The English accent in your Netflix series,
Oh,
Everything Now, me being English myself, I was watching that just thinking that that's completely convincing. If I'd seen that first, I would have been like, she's British. She's obviously British. And getting a job like that and going in and auditioning to, obviously do an accent that is completely different from your own. And, again, it's a lead role in a Netflix series. I mean, you must feel like going in there, you're like, well, probably a British woman is going to probably get this. It's kind of in their favor. But what's your preparation when you go into auditions? If it is something where you've got to do an accent or it's a completely different character from yourself, do you have things that you do to prep for that kind of thing?
I mean, I think I mean, I don't know, I've always been of the belief kind of generally that if something asks you to do an accent, like if they see something in you and they see that, oh, this person's right for the role, I don't know, I think they will forgive you if your accent's not perfect, because they'll be like that, the accents can be worked on.
Mm-hmm.
You get a dialect coach, you work on it. And when I did You Don't Know Me, which is like my first kind of UK role, I think that was very much it. Like my accent wasn't perfect when I auditioned for that, but they obviously saw something in me and were willing to like be like, okay, well, we'll make it work. And I like ended up working with the most incredible dialect coach
Mm-hmm.
who has, she's 100% the reason that I can do that accent. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I think it's sometimes you don't have to put so much pressure on yourself in some ways.
Mm-hmm. That's
But
a,
I think
that's
that
a nice way to look at it.
yeah, but there's definitely, of course, there's things you can do. I think like listening to people, listening to like interviews of actors or people who have that dialect and kind
Mm-hmm.
of just imitating them to get into their rhythm and mode. I think that's always really useful. Um, so yeah, I don't know, there's like I feel like we often put so much pressure on ourselves to achieve, and it's like I don't know.
As you say, it's part of the process once you've got the job to then nail it. Um,
Yeah.
but you've actually multiple times, 3 times you've done, if I'm correct, a British accent. So now it's like people know you can do it, and I'm sure some people think you're English as well, depending on what they've seen you in. Um,
No, definitely. I think quite a few people think that. Like when I was shooting Everything Now, one of the directors on it fully thought I was English, and then she heard me talking in an Australian accent. She was like, "Wait, are you Australian?" I was like, "Yes."
That is the biggest compliment, though, to be fair. Like, yes, I am. Yes, I am. But I want to go back to Talk to Me as well, because I'm just like fangirling of that film. But in case we run out of time, I want to roll back and ask you how it began, how you became an actress, and kind of who were your influences?
I mean, it kind of is the earliest thing I can remember wanting to do. Like when I was a kid, I used to have this VHS box set of Audrey Hepburn films. And I watched Roman Holiday, and I was just like, I have to do that. I have to be an actor. So I think that was like that. I mean, she was like really like a big kind of figure in my childhood in terms of my passion for the arts. And so I started doing like acting courses when I was 5 up until high school. And then I went to performing arts high school. And then I went to drama school. So it's been like a fairly consistent kind of passion in a sort of educational sense. And then I guess, yeah, now I'm kind of more in the professional mode of that artistic journey.
You mentioned Audrey Hepburn there, and obviously she's been in so many iconic movies, but is there not necessarily one of hers, but any movies that when you were growing up that kind of really, you kind of said it in the last bit really, but any movies that kind of stick out that were like an influence that you were like, oh, okay, no, this is the kind of movie I want to be in?
That's such a good question. Films that I don't know. I feel like I have like such like kind of eclectic taste. Like there's so many films that have been drawn to like over the years. You know, I was massive Star Wars fan when I was a kid, so that's always been like a kind of pipe dream. But then at the same time, you know, like I remember watching, honestly, so random, and I don't know why this has come to my head, but Midnight Cowboy. I remember watching that quite young, so random, but I like so like maybe it was because I was so young, but I was just like, damn, like you can make films like this, you know?
Amazing film.
And so yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've and then similarly, like I don't know, like I loved Amelie when I was younger. I loved some other films. So many. I don't know. I think it's I think I just love cinema. I'm just so passionate about cinema that it's almost like every theater experience I have kind of reignites that passion for the craft.
Does that come from, do you have family members that were like, you're always wanting to watch films, into movies? Where does that come from, that interest, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, my grandparents exposed me to a lot of the arts at like quite a young age. So they took me to like a lot of theater and like opera and like the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. And then I'd go to the movies a lot with my dad. And even at home with my mum. Like I feel like that was always like a kind of family ritual. We just watched a lot of movies together. So I think it's like, yeah, kind of my family's really instilled that in me, I suppose.
That's I mean a thing, like obviously when you're a kid and you watch a lot of movies, that's something that for me, unfortunately for me though, my parents were both in the business, so when you watch something with them, it was kind of like it was influenced by my mum was makeup, my dad was camera, so my mum would be going, the makeup's not very good in this.
Oh really?
My dad would be like, well, that's a weird camera angle. So like at a young age, picking apart a film before you're even able to just enjoy it, it's kind of that weird thing, isn't it? Like depends on how you watch a movie, but that really influenced me. Were you the first person in your family to sort of go into the arts or go into the business in this way?
I think so. I mean, my dad's like later in life, he's like now he's kind of like a visual artist, but kind of I feel like I was really the main person in my family who's like, I want to be in the arts. I want to do acting. You know, they're all kind of quite like business focused people.
Yeah. Check out the Patreon at patreon.com/lifeinfilm, where you'll get episodes early and uncut, amongst other treats. And don't forget to follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you enjoy this episode, please leave us a positive rating. Add us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at Lifeinfilm Pod, and find our video episodes on YouTube by searching Elliot James Langridge Life in Film. Essentially, please like and subscribe everything. It makes a huge difference. Thank you. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Do you work in the film industry? Are you freelance? Or perhaps you have a 9 to 5? No matter what you do, mental health affects us all.
I struggled early on in my career with the uncertainty of if and when I would ever work again, struggling to pay my bills or simply with anxiety. Don't know about you, but being an actor, it's very important for me to maintain structure in the downtimes, and I found not only exercise, but talking to someone for me was a game changer. And so Lifeinfilm has partnered with BetterHelp to provide you with access to the largest online therapy service in the world. And it can all be done from the comfort of your own home, from a phone, tablet or laptop. No commute, cutting down travel costs, and most importantly, it's affordable. With over 1,000 therapists in the UK, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a wide variety of expertise in mental health. If you need someone to talk to and you're thinking of giving therapy a go, BetterHelp is a great option. And being a listener of the podcast, you get 10% off. That's 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/lifeinfilm. That's betterhelp.com/lifeinfilm. And back to the show.
In terms of going into an audition, every actor's sort of nightmare is an auditioning going badly. Do you have any stories or any kind of, I don't know, any anecdotes about going into audition and all going wrong? Because I feel like when I look at your jobs and your CV and things you've done and the amazing performances you've done, I just think, it looks like you've just had hit after hit after hit. I can't imagine you screwing an audition up. So I'm just intrigued, like, have you had a moment or any time where you've, gone for a job and you just thought, oh my God, I'm not right for this? Or
Yeah. No, definitely. I absolutely bombed this audition. It was horrible. And it was while I was shooting Talk to Me. We've been shooting that. It was like the first possession, which like the whole shoot was 9 shoots. And it was the first possession scene, which obviously those possessions require so much energy and emotion and physicality. And so I think we finished at like 1 a.m. and then like I was exhausted. I went home, had a nap, and then I had an audition at 3 a.m. because it was like different time zone. So it was like over Zoom. And the nap was the worst idea. Like it just absolutely rocked me. And I went into that audition. I didn't even know it was real. And it was horrible. Like, when you just like look at people and they're just like, okay, thank you. Yes, thank you for that. We'll be in touch. I was like, oh.
You're like, you don't understand. I've just spent the whole night being possessed. And
Possessed.
I'm like, absolutely
You don't get
knackered. Do you have like, in terms of in between jobs and every actor has that time where you're waiting for the phone to ring in between the auditions and the jobs. Do you have any kind of coping mechanisms, or not even that, just like hobbies, things that you do outside of acting that kind of keep you busy in between the jobs, just to kind of, sometimes you need to find something to keep you sane, in while you're thinking about the phone ringing?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm like, sometimes I kind of like how normal life is. And I like just leaning into the mundane. And I like, because this job is so intense and it's so chaotic, and when you're doing it, it's so consuming, that I actually like the calmness of doing nothing and just like doing the most boring normal things in my everyday life in between.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's quite nice. I mean, it's a simple thing, but even just cleaning the apartment or like doing the washing up, it kind of, sometimes it's not something you want to do, but sometimes if you've got a hectic schedule and you're working a lot, it's sometimes nice to just have something like that. Even going for a run when you're kind of not thinking about anything else, you're just thinking about the task. No, I totally get that. And obviously going into acting and it becoming your whole life and being successful and this all going really, really well. Do you like, is it kind of surreal to see, like, from that moment where you were watching the Audrey Hepburn movies as a kid, looking back at that and now thinking, well, I've done this film, it went to Sundance, it's done amazingly well, and obviously all the other TV shows and stuff that you've done as well. Is that kind of, do you ever sit back and think, it's kind of mad that it's going all right, it's going good, it's going good?
Yeah, I think it's sometimes it's so easy to forget to do that and forget to take a moment to really reflect on where you are, and it's easy to like be constantly looking into the future or like kind of living in like a lack mindset. But I think I've had to take a couple moments for myself to really remind myself, be like, yeah, like look where you are, and like think about yourself at drama school, you know, looking at you now and how proud she would be, or you know, yeah, that kid who loved Audrey Hepburn. And yeah, I think it's definitely important to take those moments to really reflect, and it's entirely surreal. I feel like I'm still haven't processed it. Like I'm still like, oh yeah, I'm just hanging out doing this job. Like it's insane to me to try and like conflate it with any form of success. And I don't know, maybe that's on my part a bit of like uncomfortability in the idea of success. But yeah, I think it's important to, I don't know, take that time and take that space for yourself.
Yeah, just take like a moment. And I actually watched doing my homework for this, even though I was very familiar with what you'd done, and really excited to talk to you, because genuinely Talk to Me was like my number one film of the year. But beyond that, I wanted to do a little bit more homework and dig a little deeper. And I found a video of Michael and Danny, the directors of Talk to Me. And they've got this huge social media following, and they started with YouTube and everything else. And there was a video on there, and it was showing the process of, you know, once they'd shot Talk to Me, and then going to Sundance and all these things. And there's a moment on in the video where you guys find out that A24 have taken on the film. It was a beautiful moment. Like you guys were all in, I don't know what it was, but like a hotel
Like
room.
in the kitchen, is this when we were crying?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Holy shit.
Close.
What the hell? That's actually like unreal.
Wait, what the fuck? This is like the fucking like craziest day of my life.
I'm so proud of you guys.
Holy fuck, no.
Oh my god.
Oh, man.
Oh, what the fuck?
Sophie.
Oh, God.
Like, what the hell's going on?
So overwhelming.
It's an A24 film.
Do you understand how much your career is about to explode? You carried everything, and they all watched you for 90 minutes, and every review talks about you. You are about to fucking explode.
Unfortunately, we cannot.
And like a real raw moment, like that must have been mad, just to get that news and to know you had something there.
Yeah, I think I truly think Sundance was like the most surreal experience of my life. And I think for all of us, like I don't know, this film, it's an indie film that we made in COVID in Adelaide that we like loved and believed in, and you know, knew that it had the potential, but like didn't think that it could necessarily, I don't know, reach like a global market. Like I think we were just like, yeah, like this might slap in Australia. And I think, you know, we went to Sundance again, not really expecting anything, and to just kind of go there and for it to have blown, like it blew up. It was insane. And to have that experience, like we were just crying constantly and like had altitude sickness and like we were just like roaming around like, what's going on? Like Jordan Peele's on FaceTime, like what?
Yeah.
So it was just like, I think, yeah, like such a beautiful moment for all of us, and for all of us to be there together. And I think, you know, like A24, like that was like one of my biggest dreams. That's like number one on my like little list of dreams. So it was like a weird kind of moment in the sense of like, oh my God, my dream has just come true.
Yeah. And you did say earlier, I mean, I wasn't sure what came first, but this was your first feature film as well. Is that correct?
I did one in Australia before, so it was my second one.
Okay. All right. This is the one that counts, though. This is which was the one that you did before? That was before this one. Then was it because the only other film
it's called The Portable Door.
Oh, that was before. Oh,
yeah,
right, okay.
yeah. So, but that took so long to come out. Like we
Yeah.
shot that like 2021, and then it came out like just right before Talk to Me, which is kind of
Yeah, I was
crazy.
gonna say, I feel like it on IMDb, it's like the same year. That's mad though, I guess, because like I
Yeah.
don't know what the budget was on that, but Talk to Me, obviously fairly low budget. That was another thing I wanted to say, that obviously the directors on that, having done all these YouTube videos and like practical stunts, and they've got an amazing YouTube. Um, those kind of first few moments in that movie where there's a couple of things happening. I don't want to, again, for the audience that haven't seen it, but like the visual effects in this film, you would never guess
Mm.
that it had a low budget. I don't know what the budget is, but people always float that word around saying, "Oh, it's low budget, it's low budget." There was no way of telling that this didn't have a huge like American budget. It felt like
Mm.
it just looked incredible.
Yeah, yeah,
With
yeah.
what was a lot of that stuff as practical as it looked? Like I'm trying to think your character. There's quite a few moments with but it's kind of shots that helped with the camera work and stuff. But was it quite practical with a lot of I guess the violence?
I think pretty much. I I honestly think like pretty much everything was practical effects.
Mm.
Like I think maybe like there's like one or two moments with like the like lens, like the eyes. But
Mm.
I mean, yeah, pretty much all of it was there live. I mean, our prosthetics team was insane. Our stunt department, like again, I think because Danny and Michael have a YouTube background and all of their YouTubes are so stunt heavy.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
that they just know it. Like it's just like in their DNA. And so I think there's something that's so amazing about them having that background that's really like impacted the film, especially in terms of like editing and sound and everything. But yeah.
Mm. And working with those two, I mean, I just get the sense. I watched the episode they did on Joe Rogan, and like really got a sense of who they
Yeah.
were, and they were just amazing guests on that show.
Yeah.
What like working with those two, they just seem like a real ball of energy. And you saying they're obviously celebrating when there's a good take and stuff. Um, are they kind of quite different from other directors that you've worked with?
Oh, completely. Like that, okay, like that interview, like that is them. That
Yeah.
is them all the time. Like it's actually, I'm like, I don't know how you guys have that much energy. Also, because they don't sleep.
No,
Like
I
they
was gonna
literally
say.
don't sleep. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, how are you like 110 like every day? It's insane. Um, but like I think that yeah, you need that energy, and it's like really fun to work with people who are just so passionate. You know,
Mm.
like they just love what they're doing, and they're so grateful, excited to be doing what they're doing. And I think that that really injects a sort of energy into you where you're like, yeah, like we're
Mm.
making a film, like you know,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's fun, it's chaos, it's especially having two directors. I think two directors that are twin brothers is
Mm.
also madness. But it's kind of so exciting in that.
That must be kind of great for them, like having, it's like having two of you almost like being passionate about something. It's like double drive to
Yeah,
get something made. Did they ever kind of have different ideas and then kind of be
yeah,
like, well, no, I don't want to do that. Like, was there
all
ever
the
that?
time,
Oh,
all the time. I mean, they are brothers. They are
yeah,
twin brothers. Like it's
yeah.
like yeah, sometimes like the unison is solid, and then like the division, and you're like, who am I listening to right now? But I think that's like that's also part of like that chemistry, and that's like what makes it so fun. And like Michael will come in and like he used to like do these curveballs where he'd like come in and he'd like whisper something in your ear, and like he'd like make you like do something like random in the scene that's like not written in the script. And I feel like Danny would always just be like, "Why did you make them do that? Like that was a horrible idea." But it's so much fun, and I think that's what was great about that job is like it was so playful in a
Yeah.
lot of ways.
Well, in terms of as well, obviously saying that was there quite a bit of improvisation as well and just kind of playing and not necessarily following the script.
Yeah, like I think that's what was also amazing about them. They weren't super like beholden to what they'd written. Like they were open to like letting you
Yeah.
try things or explore, or they would be like, yeah, like dude, like just do this instead, you know. And I think that I find that exciting,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And even in rehearsals, like we were really lucky. Like we actually got a really solid rehearsal time, and like we go through the scenes and play, and then they kind of like go home and write in some of the kind of improv that we do into the
Wow.
script. So it felt super collaborative,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
was really nice.
We're just watching the footage of all of you guys celebrating at Sundance, and like it looked like a real family vibe, and just the kind of the absolute epitome of what you hope a film is going to be when you're making it, and the people around you. So I'm so like when I went to watch it, I was so glad because like when I went to see it, it was kind of before the real buzz started, and it was only on a few screens. Went to see it, and I was blown away about it, and I loved it. And then because of the success of it, it then came back to the cinema in this country and got a bigger release. And I was just so pleased to see that people were
Oh,
championing
really?
the movie. Yeah, I mean it literally because the cinema I go to is quite a small independent cinema. So
Yeah,
if a movie makes it to that cinema, you're doing something right.
I made it.
You're doing something right. Yeah. So I was so glad to see that it had done so well, and now it's like gone all over the world. It's insane. But I want to ask, I don't know, because obviously again, I don't want to give away to the audience what happens in the film. Something happens to your character which makes it feel like she's probably not going to be involved in the sequel, but is there
Oh
anything
yeah.
you can kind of, I'm sure even if you are in it or if you're not in it, I'm sure you cannot say anything about it, but is there anything you know about the sequel that you're allowed to say?
I actually don't know anything about this sequel.
Ah, okay. I
Like
mean,
I'm
it might
like,
not even be true. I don't even, I saw
no,
it.
no. Like I know Danny and Michael are like riding away at it. But look, what the contents of it is a mystery to me so far. I mean, they've said like a couple of things to me. But we'll see.
Oh,
We shall see.
curious.
I'm prepared to get some massive FOMO. I was like, can I come just be like boom operator? Like, I just want to be there. Like, I just want to hang out with you guys.
Well, I just to wrap this up because honestly, this has been wicked. And I'm so glad that we managed to get not only Zoom working but actually get to chat. Absolute nightmare. It's the bane of my life. Zoom,
It's so annoying.
yeah, it's trying to stop me from succeeding.
Most embarrassing moments, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm like, surely I've done something embarrassing. I'm a embarrassing person.
Embarrassing.
Um, wait, I don't know why I literally can't think of anything.
I've really put you on the
I can
spot
think of
here.
so many embarrassing moments in my life. But I can't think of anything at work. Maybe but you know what? I feel like I turn into a different person at work.
Oh, really?
I'm like Danny and Michael. I think that they were like at Sundance. They were like, "What the hell?" They were like, "Oh, like you're a freak. Like you're crazy." Because at work, I'm so like serious and like I am a professional.
And then at Sundance, you're like, what?
At Sundance, literally crazy. Like we had a full on wrestling like WWE wrestling fight. Broke my finger, but I did win against Danny,
Oh
and
my
I want that
God.
on the record.
And he's really into his wrestling, so you did well there.
Exactly. I can't think of an embarrassing story.
To be fair, you wrestling the director and breaking your finger is pretty not embarrassing, but it's a great story. So I think that's a high, and I think we should end on that visual note. But thank you so much again, and all the very best with the BAFTAs. I've got my fingers crossed.
Thank you.
I can't believe it's weird that it's a public vote. It's quite a
know.
rare thing. But like the film has smashed it over here. So you've got, I mean, I think you're gonna win. So fingers crossed.
Oh, thank you.
Well, have a great time anyway,
Yeah.
and enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Thanks,
All right, take care.
Elliot.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you to our guest Sophie, and thank you to Public Eye PR. And as always, thank you to our sponsor, BetterHelp. Voting for the EE Rising Star Award is now open at ee.co.uk/BAFTA until 12 p.m. GMT on Friday, the 16th of February 2024. The winner will be announced on the EE BAFTA Film Awards on Sunday the 18th.